Hi, my name is Megan Cole. I'm a sophomore at Michigan State University. My major is criminal justice, and I play on the MSU field hockey team.
My name is Maggie, pretty much like Megan. I'm a sophomore at Michigan State. I also play field hockey, and I'm majoring in criminal justice.
And when we were 8, we witnessed human trafficking. In the human trafficking incident, it started out as like a regular day. We have a cottage in Sheboygan, and our family loves Chinese food, and so one day we decided to go to a Chinese food restaurant. So we went in a brand new restaurant in Sheboygan, and everything seemed a little off.
And we thought this because the workers were a little different. Usually in a Chinese restaurant, there's Asian workers. And there were actually 2 Hispanic boys around 15 years old working at the Chinese restaurant. And then another thing that seemed fishy was the manager treated the 2 boys very disrespectfully. Her tone of voice she used throughout our dinner there was horrible. It didn't seem right. Yeah. Our grandma also witnessed this weird environment that was happening at the Chinese restaurant. And she actually spoke to the 2 boys. She kind of pulled them aside and asked if they were okay. And they didn't really respond to them. I think this was because they didn't want the manager to see them talking to my grandma because they were scared. A lot of times in human trafficking, a person will, I don't know how to phrase it,
Manipulate, lie, scare them, maybe even violently hurt them. So the boys were terrified, and I think that because my grandma spoke up, they were frightened that maybe something bad was going to happen to them because they weren't supposed to be talking to somebody else, and maybe the woman would think that they were going to get help. I don't know, but the boys didn't say anything, and they looked absolutely terrified, and it was horrendous. So when my grandma tried to talk to the boys, the woman got absolutely crazy. Like she started screaming in Chinese. We couldn't really obviously we couldn't understand what she was saying, but we could just tell by the tone of her voice and her screaming that she was not saying good things. And I think she was talking about my grandma, because she was looking at her and then looking away, and then she started screaming at the boys again, and it was just a horrible situation.
And the body language of the 2 boys was extremely negative. When the manager was yelling at them, their heads immediately went down to the ground, and they kind of had like sad mannerisms, and it just wasn't right.
What really happens is that people are lied to, and they're convinced that their kids are going to have a better life, so that's how they are lured into human trafficking. It's nothing like they're taken in a white van or taken off the streets. It's a totally different situation.
It is important for teenagers to know that they can also speak up. I know it's kind of scary, and teenagers don't always want to speak up, but it's very important because victims oftentimes will not speak up for themselves.
Just like those boys.
Yes, just like those 2 boys. So it's very important that all of us, teenagers included, not just adults, can help break the silence. Human trafficking is a very hidden crime. A lot of times we don't see human trafficking because we see Chinese restaurants, we see nail salons, and don't think anything of it. But then when we go inside and see workers with different ethnicities, we kind of see it's very different. Breaking the silence is being responsible and confidently speaking up, because sometimes those who are in human trafficking don't feel comfortable themselves speaking up.
After experiencing that event at the Chinese food restaurant, I now recognize the importance of speaking up, but I now realize that even speaking up doesn't give the human trafficking victims enough justice, because they still have a long journey ahead of them. Even speaking up won't heal the wounds that they have. They have to deal with going back to their country, or any rough feelings that they've had and trauma that they've experienced through this human trafficking event.
the silence.